Bethesda finally did it. They announced the Oblivion remaster and when it's dropping. And now only one question remains. Will this be good? Because I have my doubts. I have a lot of doubts. After seeing Starfield and how poorly Bethesda has done, well, literally everything in the past 10 years, I, I'm not trusting the Oblivion remake. I'm not trusting the Fallout 3 remake, which is going to happen after this. And how about you, boys? Do you think Bethesda can manage a remake properly? Now, first things first, it is technically done by a different studio, but they are just upping the graphics. Now, there's supposed to be some design changes, like, hits feel impactful, enemies, recoil, and things like that. And that's very cool. But that's not something the studio that ups the graphics is gonna do, most likely. It's gonna be Bethesda. And do we trust Bethesda even on something that simple? Again, after Starfield and the doubling down on all the shitty mechanics of Starfield and Shattered Space, I don't, I don't know. I don't think there's any single person with even a shred, a small shred of talent left in this godforsaken company. And well, I don't know what to expect from the Oblivion remake. I personally think it's not going to be the greatest. I wonder what the player numbers for this are going to be, because Oblivion is beloved by many, many people who are older than dinosaurs, mostly at this point. That includes myself. I'm in roughly that age range. And, well, will new people actually like the game? Are we just looking at this with tinted rose-tinted glasses or something like that? Do you feel like that's going to be the case, or do you think this is going to be like, oh my god, this old game is so amazing, and 15-year-olds from Fortnite are going to come running over the hills to play the Oblivion remastered? I think these are really hard questions to answer. I personally don't even exactly have a number how much players should we expect to see on Steam when this bad boy drops. I have no idea, because keep in mind the biggest player base is going to be on Steam, because this is an old Bethesda game, which means people are going to be modding it honestly day one, which means they're going to play this on PC, exclusively on PC. Okay, the Xbox Game Pass free shit is not going to even be applicable to the Oblivion remaster. So this is gonna be one hell of an experience.
The Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered reveal has officially been announced by Bethesda, and the reveal is officially happening tomorrow. We have all of the details in this video. We're going to talk about the big reveal. When is the Oblivion Remastered releasing? I'm also going to talk about the gameplay updates and improvements that we should expect to be revealed tomorrow, and so much more. Guys, we have a lot to cover, so check the video chapters for easy viewing. Real quick, guys, this video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. There is so much content that's blocked just because of where you live, and at the same time,
wow.
so after all this time, the Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered, developed by Virtuos as well as Bethesda Game Studios, has officially been announced. Like, they finally talked about the Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered. It is a real thing, and I can't believe it. We are actually going to be playing Oblivion Remastered very soon. So we have some official details from Bethesda regarding the announcement details. First, we have the reveal date and time. So Bethesda confirmed the reveal through a teaser posted today on social media, and as you guys can see from the teaser right here, you see the Roman numeral IV. This obviously means 4, with the phrase all will be revealed. So yes, tomorrow, April 22nd at 11.
Yeah, this seems so boring.
11 a.m. ET, 10 a.m. CT, the official reveal of Oblivion Remastered is going to go down, and I cannot be more excited. Like, we knew this was going to happen, especially after all of the screenshots leaked from the Virtuos website. Like, we knew it was real, but now we have the official confirmation from Bethesda, which is really exciting. So Nate the Hate and Jeff Grubb were at least partially right. They said that the game would be shadow dropped on the week of the 21st, and we are on April 21st right now, and we got the official reveal date.
Does this count as a shadow drop? There is an announcement. There's going to be even like a stream or something like that when they give the hype and shit. So this is not a shadow drop. This is not just like, oh, one day it just appears in Steam and it's buyable and playable. This is not a shadow drop. So all of these people, once again, who are reliable sources, are technically wrong. Now, they technically got something right, but I mean, shit. Even I could have told you that the Oblivion remake is happening after the leak court thing.
So that can only mean that a shadow drop is likely going to be the case as well. As you guys know, Jeff Grubb and Nate the Hate both said that Bethesda will likely shadow drop the game in the week of April 21st. So by this time tomorrow, we could potentially be playing the Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered, which is absolutely wild to think about. Bethesda announcing and shadow dropping the game tomorrow is just unfathomable. Like, I can't even imagine what tomorrow's going to be like. Hopefully they show off a lot of the gameplay details as well, which I think they will. But yeah, I think generally everyone is kind of expecting the game to shadow drop tomorrow, so hopefully
Okay, well, okay, actually, you know what? Maybe there is a chance that it just is playable tomorrow. But again, I I really don't see a world where Bethesda drops their arguably one victory in literally the time period of, I don't know, like 10 plus years at this point, and doesn't make a big deal out of it. This seems nonsensical on literally every level. At a company level, at a hype level, at a game dev level, at a business level, at every level, this just seems stupid. Unless they think that this is going to be a disaster and no one's going to play it. And they want to avoid people like me making videos about lol, lol, Oblivion Remastered, the most beloved Bethesda game in the history of ever. Don't know if that's true. Probably Skyrim is more beloved in the history of ever when it comes to Bethesda. But, you know, it has only 500 players on Steam. Maybe they want to evade these claims, or at least create an excuse for them.
it does. If it doesn't, and tomorrow's just a reveal stream with a release date in the future, that would be really strange. It'd be unfortunate, especially considering, like, if you look at Xbox's current lineup of games they're releasing, they have a fairly stacked schedule. Like, we've got Doom coming out in May, so really their opportunity to release Oblivion Remaster is
They have a pretty stacked schedule. They have Doom coming out in one game is a stacked schedule. Shit. No wonder everyone constantly talks about Xbox not having games when this. If one game is a stacked schedule, I don't want to see what is an unstacked schedule.
this time. Like, this is the perfect time for them to do it. Now we'll talk about the possibility of the game not getting shadow dropped tomorrow in just a bit, but first let's get into some of the gameplay details as well as like download details. So this is coming from XOX Leak on Twitter. They said the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered file size is going to be 120 gigabytes, which that right there is a hefty download size. It definitely
Yeah, I had a choice between watching this and Young Yeah, and I obviously chose less mental damage to myself. Not a lot less mental damage to myself, but at least some less damage to my mental self. And yeah, Young Yeah was raving about it even in the thumbnail that this thing is gonna be massive. And yeah, it seems like the biggest thing at the end of the day that we get from Unreal Engine 5, you know, the engine that we all thought was gonna make it so MMORPGs just get pushed into the next level of viability. Fuck that. The reality is what Unreal Engine 5 gives us is extremely massive file sizes and roughly nothing else. Nice.
is an Unreal Engine 5 game at the end of the day, and it certainly seems like they left no stone unturned in terms of the graphic overhaul that they plan on doing. From all of the leaked screenshots and stuff that have been posted online, it certainly seems that the graphics overhaul will be impressive. Obviously, I do have some concerns about it being Unreal Engine 5 and the way they're doing it, which, if you guys didn't know, the game is being remastered using technology where basically Unreal Engine 5 is the graphics layer, but the base code being the Gamebryo engine will still be present as well. It's just they're using Unreal 5 as the graphics overhaul. But that doesn't mean that there's not going to be gameplay changes, because we do have a leak to go over that revealed some of the gameplay changes. So this information was leaked by a former Virtuos employee, and it was reported first by MP First. So some of the enhancements that we should be expecting for tomorrow's reveal is a blocking redesign with inspiration from action games like Souls-likes, addressing some of the game's original, like, you know, frustrating systems in terms of blocking. They updated some stuff whenever it comes to sneaking. The icons are now highlighted highlighted, and they revamped the damage calculations for stealth attacks. The stamina has also been updated, making stamina depletion knockdowns harder to trigger. Now, archery has also been modernized for both third and first person perspectives, which is set to improve the overall mechanics and feel. They added hit reactions to make the combat responses clearer and more dynamic. They updated the HUD, which in terms of like the UI and the HUD, I'm expecting a full recreation of those elements. Like, I'm sure they're just going to take the base system and then just upgrade it to make it look better. Now, there's also rumors that they updated the leveling system, but we don't have those details.
Okay. None of this matters. Also, is the leveling system in this game as bad as Morrowind's? Because Morrowind's is notoriously bad, okay? There's literally hours-long videos dissecting how bad Morrowind's leveling system actually is. And as a kid, I could understand that. Do nothing, go to sleep, wake up in-game, and have like fucking 5 levels, what, or something like that. I don't even remember how it worked anymore, but it was insane. But anyway, let's real talk, boys. No one cares about any of this garbage. Obviously, what it's gonna be, it's gonna what it's be. But there's one thing and one thing only, and that is, how fucked are we with the DLCs? Because we know that this is just the base game. The DLCs are going to be buyable separately. So, expect Horse Armor and Horse Armor 2.0. Oh,
it's just kind of an unconfirmed rumor, but they suggested that there was going to be a complete overhaul to that. So we'll see tomorrow, hopefully. I think my biggest hope is just a combat overhaul. Like, the combat in Oblivion is really solid, especially for the time, but I feel like they could make some steps to really modernize it. And I think blocking and the sneak update and archery is a solid start, but I'm hoping they do other things to make the overall combat system fluid and just modernized. Now, I briefly spoke about the graphics being overhauled using Unreal Engine 5, and from the leaked screenshots, there have been significant updates to the overall graphic fidelity. They enhanced the models and textures. I mean, there's a 120 gigabyte download size. Like, what are those? Are those textures, or what are?
Dude, look at this unappealing dryad. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? I want pixel supremacy.
Are they? I imagine their textures, like 4K textures, are pretty intensive whenever it comes to file size, especially if they're not compressed. It's actually wild to think about. Like, back in the day, the thing that made, you know, Oblivion so big in the first place, which it was 6 gigabytes. In the making of Oblivion, I believe a developer said that like half of one of the discs was all voiceover. And now we have this game, which is 120 gigabytes. And I would say a large majority of it is just the textures being upgraded, which I guess, you know, high resolution textures are kind of a blessing and a curse. Like, in some ways, I love seeing games that I play at the, you know, top texture quality as possible, but at the cost of, you know, having to download all of these textures. And then even some games don't even download all of the textures. They use, you know, texture streaming. But yeah, if you don't have the space on your Xbox or your PlayStation 5 or your PC, you better get the 120 gigabytes free, and you better do it quick. Now, this brings us to the release date. When are we going to be able to play the Oblivion Remastered? Like, when is it dropping? Will it shadow drop? Well, I think it's safe to assume that if Jeff Grubb and Nate the Hate are right about the game getting announced this week, they're likely right about the hot drop as well. But we actually have other evidence that suggests that the game will be released tomorrow as well, because, like, for instance, the Steam DB for the Oblivion Remastered game was updated. It was updated like yesterday. It was also updated in the morning. So at the very least, the Oblivion Remastered listing will go live tomorrow. Whether or not that means a hot drop is imminent, I don't really know. I can't know. We'll have to find out tomorrow. But honestly, like I said before, if Jeff Grubb and Nate the Hate are right at this point, I have no reason not to trust that a shadow drop is imminent.
Yeah, it's gonna be so interesting to see how this performs.
Which I have to give mad props to Xbox and Bethesda and, you know, Virtuos for how they're doing this. Like, the fact that outside of today's post that announced that the reveal would be tomorrow, there really hasn't been anything said by anyone from Bethesda or Microsoft or anyone. The only thing that we've had to work off of is the leaked screenshots and the stuff that was uploaded to Virtuos' website. Now we can go through our tinfoil hat theory on whether or not the leaked images were actually leaks or if they were intentional, which I have my suspicions that they might be a bit intentional, or they deliberately were a bit.
Yeah, I think, again, I said this multiple times, I think all of the leaks were Bethesda intended, that they're fake, because there's no such thing as just shadow dropping something like this. Your studio is down the shitter, no one expects anything from you, and now you're just gonna drop something like Oblivion Remastered. You're arguably always shot at making something even remotely good because you didn't even make it nowadays.
Sloppy, which honestly, now that we're getting a reveal stream, I have a feeling that they leaked all this stuff intentionally, but there's really no way to know. Like, the fact of the matter is that, you know, Bethesda was outsourcing this game development to Virtuos, so they couldn't really handle all of the leaks internally. You know, there's outside sources that are obviously going to let things slip. There's the employees that come and go, regardless of NDAs, things are going to leak, and that's likely the case here. But yeah, tomorrow's stream is about to be a movie. I cannot wait for it to happen. I'm expecting not only Todd Howard to show up, but also other employees at Bethesda and some Virtuos employees as well. And I would just be very surprised if we don't get the game tomorrow. Now, if we don't get the game tomorrow and they, for instance, announce that the Oblivion Remastered is revealed and they go over all the gameplay updates and changes, but then they tell us, hey, stay tuned for the release date, then that would be a big disappointment. I think a lot of people are expecting.
I mean, people wanted to drop faster. That's the truth with every single game drop that has ever been done. You know, they announce it's happening in a month, and people are like, "Futurama me until that next month." Okay, no, that sadly can't be done, cannot happen. And well, what am I supposed to do about that? Nothing. That's just not live. Anyway, that was Wish Nemo 10 out of 10. Have a nice day. Bye.